Okay, so we're going to get into just a bit of a chat now.
Okay.
And I can't get my breath back up. Throwing the ball's hard. Okay, so you became famous, or YouTube famous, if you like, well known for going around the world on a jigsaw, which
I don't like to talk about it.
which does beg the question: what's wrong with you? I mean, of all the bikes you could choose to do a round the world trip on,
That old chestnut, still. Why not? Honestly, why not? Just.
I mean, was it kind of, because obviously you have Nick Sanders around the world in R1.
Yep. And Jacques Lucasson,
who's got this crazy R1 with a rear wheel that wide to go on ice.
Stay to the North Pole. Yeah, he's riding to the North Pole.
Yeah.
Second attempt.
I mean, yeah, we should really ask him what the hell's wrong with him, shouldn't we?
He's mental. He's awesome. I love the bloke. He's brilliant.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people here know why, but just give us a little kind of overview. Why?
Why take the jigsaw?
Yeah, why take the jigsaw?
The jigsaw was all I'd ever ridden, to be honest. Like I was quite late to biking. 2008, so I'd have been 32 when I passed my test, did direct access straight in. First bike was a GSX-R 600 that I had, moved straight up to the 1000 within about 7-8 months really, and that's all I rode. I was doing lots of miles, pretty much lived on my bike for the first, as soon as I passed my test, I was doing 40 odd thousand mile a year. I'd ride before work, ride after work. I just loved biking. I was late to it and wanted to make up for the time, basically.
Was it that jigsaw you took around the world?
Or
Did
no.
you get a new one for it?
Yeah, I mean, I because I was in my 30s and I was single, I had a wee bit of money. So, you've not really got any massive commitments or anything. So every year when the new bikes came out, it was like, there's a new colour scheme in the jigsaw, I'll buy a new jigsaw. And I always got them on tick, I always got them on finance. So you just chop them in. And
yeah.
You lose a ridiculous amount of money. But I got a new bike every year, basically, until I went. Stupid, I know. And I threw a couple down the road as well, so it's my own fault. I had to replace them. But I loved the jigsaw. The jigsaw had always been my, the blue and white GSX-R, that was always my poster bike. So when I passed my test, I was definitely getting one of them. And,
see, my poster bike was always the Kawasaki ZX-7RR.
Explains
with the
a lot.
Big air intakes on either
side. Yeah.
Big air intakes on either side.
Yeah. It'd always been jigsaws for me. I don't know why. I just fell for the jigsaw, and that was it really. So when I decided I was going to do the trip around the world, I'd seen Jacques Lucasson actually was the first one that I saw doing. He did this crazy 4.5-5 year trip all around the world on an R. He took the R1. Yeah, on the R1. I think he's done it on a Fireblade as well, same as Nick Sanders has done. But I saw him going through.
Nick Sanders on R1, wasn't it?
Nick Sanders has done it on all sorts. He's done it on a Triumph. He's done it on 2 Hondas. He's done it on 3 R1s.
I thought the superbike he did it on was.
He's done it on loads. Yeah,
okay.
He's done it on Fireblade and R1s. Yeah, I think he's done something like 15 trips around the world.
Yeah,
crazy. But he always does like the fastest circumnavigations.
There's that kind of the world record that's kind of disputed, isn't it? Because he thinks he's got the fastest time around the world. But then he stopped halfway through and had a break and then just started the clock again when he started again.
Oh, did he?
Whereas other people have said
that the one that's like 18
it.
days though? It's something stupid like that, 18 days
Yeah, 18
around
days,
the world.
but he had a kind of break, as I understand it. Whereas, I can't remember who it is. Is it one of the guys from Globebusters? No, they hold the record for 2 up. Sorry? Yeah, well, I thought they had the record for doing it 2 up, don't they? So that was different. God, they were refueling while going along. She was like picking up cans, reaching round him.
Mental, isn't it? People said I'm nuts. No.
But yeah, so I think there is some dispute there because I don't think he holds the actual world record from Guinness because he had a break in the middle and didn't do it continuously. But still, 18 days.
It's incredible.
It's incredible.
It's nuts. Yeah, it's incredible.
And filmed it. And we both know how long it takes to film things.
Those shots that you see, you know the shots when you're watching these videos of people riding by? They look great, don't they? Really cinematic, and they're amazing. But they're a massive pain in the bum to do, because you've got to, don't forget, you have to run, put the camera up, frame the shot, run back to your bike, get out of shot, ride through shot, then run back to the tripod, pick the bike up. And even if you do 2 or 3 of them a day, that's still a massive chunk of time, really.
Huge chunk of
Especially
time.
when you're trying to get somewhere.
And you're constantly riding away going, please don't get stolen, please don't get stolen, please don't get stolen.
I did hit record. Did I hit record?
That's the classic one. You get back to it and go, I didn't press a chord.
Well, the battery's gone. You're like,
But yeah, so, I mean, did you have to do any changes to the bike before you took it?
Nothing. No. It's totally stock.
Standard tyres as well?
Yeah. It's a bit of a story in itself. I was supposed to be sort of sponsored. Bridgestone were going to provide the tyres, their new T30 Sport Touring tyres. That was the idea. So yeah, they were just normal street tyres, basically. The only thing that was different on the bike was I put some R&G heated grips on it, and I put a Pipeworks exhaust on it, just because I liked the sound, so I had one of them. But that was it, stock seat, stock handlebars, no risers, nothing, just bog standard.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
And obviously, most people know the story behind why you went, but that's where this whole live your life, I don't want to say catchphrase, it doesn't feel right to call it a catchphrase.
Mantra.
Your mantra of live your life, which I think is really kind of catchy. I see people wearing T-shirts. We've had people come in here with your live your life T-shirts on.
Excellent, thank you very much.
So,
that's where are you? It's down to Roger. There we are, somebody back. Roger and Charlotte over there from the influencer store. Yeah, the live your life thing. If you don't know the story, I'll try and be as quick and concise as I can. My mum fought cancer for a long time. She fought cancer for about 10 years, but sadly it got the better of her. And towards the end of her life, I'd moved her in to live with me while she was going through treatment. And we'd just spend long periods of time sat on the couch, chatting, watching the TV and stuff when I wasn't working. And one day we were just chatting away, and Long Way Round came on, Dave or one of the channels, just a repeat. And I'd seen it all before. My mum had even bought me the box set for Christmas when it first came out and stuff. And I started to moan, saying, it's all right for McGregor with all the money, blah, 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 blah. And my mum just turned round and she said, look, you've always spoke about riding a bike, you've never done it. You've always spoke about travel, you've never done it. Don't get to my stage in life where you face the end and you regret what you've not done in life. As far as we know, we only get one chance. So look after those that you love, but live your life. And it was really like one of those epiphanal moments, really. And I just picked up my laptop there and then Googled how'd you pass your motorbike test. DAS came up. I saw 5 days. I'll have some of that. Booked it. By the time I did DAS, I actually failed. I failed my first test because I put my foot down in the U-turn. I had my brand new GSX-R 600 waiting for me at P&H in Crawley as well. I was gutted. But anyway, I managed to rebook through a bit of jiggery-pokery, redid the test, passed, picked up the bike. And my mum she'd gone into a local hospice in Penge by that point because she didn't want to pass away in my flat. So I turned up at the hospice, shook the keys to my bike and I said, I've done it, I've passed my test. So she gave me a big hug and then she said, right, promise me you'll do this trip. And 5 days later she lost her battle. So that was it really. I was doing the trip. And the live your life thing it basically gave me the fuel to do it. It gave me the drive and the determination to do it. And it seems to have struck a chord with a lot of people. So it's great. If I can pass that on to people, fantastic.
Think she'd be proud?
I hope she would be. Yeah. I hope she would be.
Fantastic.
You're going to make me cry again. When we filmed the DVD, he was an utter bugger. I don't know if you've seen the DVD. We sat there having a right joke in my house as he was setting everything up. And he says, right, you ready to go? I said, yeah, let's go. He said, right, record. First thing he said was, tell me about your mum. My lip literally just went, that was it, I was gone. It's like, you fucker.
Sorry. But I think it's almost come a bit bigger than you in many respects.
The live your life thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
Live nice mantra, as you call it, not a catchphrase. That kind of, and I think it's fantastic, and it's nice to see that, you know, there's a bit of kind of. It feels like, certainly when I watch your YouTube channel and the things that you do, it feels like there's a bit more, I don't know whether you guys agree, there's a bit more substance to why he's doing all his bike stuff, rather than the normal kind of, wouldn't it be cool to make money from YouTube and things like that? So, you know, it feels like there's a bit more kind of...
Well, that's nice to know. Yeah, I still struggle. I still don't know. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, and I really struggle to identify what my channel is about, to be perfectly honest with you. Like I don't want it to be a motorcycle review channel. I don't want it to be a kit review channel. I'm not even that fussed if it's all about bikes. For me, it's about travel and meeting people, you know, and getting out there and just meeting people, and for people to realise that the world isn't as bad as we're like forced to, or not forced, but all the media, all the news is just doom and gloom, and this is happening over here and that's happening over there, and everyone's shit scared of everybody. Nobody trusts anyone. But there's no reason to be like that, because we're all the same. Wherever you go in the world, we're all the same. There's a couple of arseholes, for sure, but you get that everywhere. Most people are brand new. Believe me, Russia, I mean, they are the enemy at the moment, aren't they? They are just evil. That's all we're told. I've been to Russia. They're some of the nicest people you'll ever meet, and I'm still in touch with them now. And they're horrified about what is going on at the moment. And they get fed as much bullshit as we get fed about them. They get fed about us, you know? And it's like that everywhere you go in the world. Everyone is the same. They're all looking after each other. They're all looking after their families, and they'll help you if they can help you. And I just want to try and get out and promote that to people, so that, you know, they're more inclined to jump on their bike and go somewhere new, whether that's, you know, different part of the country, or go abroad and meet people abroad, or, you know, just be nicer to people, basically. Maybe I'm living in a bit of a pipe dream.
I think all the travelling I've done, I've always been... You hear a lot of horror stories. Kind of, oh, you don't want to go there, you don't want to go there. But 9 times out of 10, it seems to be from people that have never actually done any travelling.
Absolutely.
They're telling you can't go somewhere.
Absolutely.
And you know, and you're always going to meet someone who's a bit of a knob. Mm-hmm. But you meet people that are a bit of a knob in England too.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
In Wales and in wherever you happen to be.
And horror stories make the news because they are fairly unique. You know, they are quite out the ordinary for some of these horrific things that do happen. The reason they make the news is because they don't happen every day, you know, contrary to what we're sort of fed all the time.
I've always found when I've done travelling, I think it's the people make it as well. And I think it almost gets a bit stale when you hear people talking about going on big adventures and talking about how kind everyone was and how they invite you into their house and things like that. And I have a jokey kind of argument with Austin Vince a couple of times, because he's always kind of said, you know, don't go travelling to a third world country on a big expensive bike because you're rubbing your wealth in their face. Now, I've been through Africa, down to Gambia in Africa twice. I did it once on a Honda C90, and I did it once on a brand spanking new Super Tenere. I didn't get treated any differently. In fact, people were so excited to see a brand new Super Tenere, something they don't see very often. They see C90s all the time out there. It's kind of like they're excited to see it, and as long as you're, you know, they'll come up, and as long as you're happy to kind of go, okay, you sit on my bike, have a see how it feels, and they, you know, they absolutely love it, and they come over, and it's a bit like if I see someone with a Ferrari, I don't sit there and go, oh, I hate you because you're rich and own a Ferrari. I go, oh my God, it's a Ferrari! And I think it's the same thing, and I think that's...
Yes, I had a bit of a bad experience in Mauritania in Africa, and I noticed that I was getting treated very differently to an old chap that I'd buddied up with to go through Mauritania. He was on a, oh God, the three-wheelers, Russian three-wheelers. Urals. He was on the, thank you. He was on the Ural, and I was obviously on the GSXR. And he's in like a boiler suit and rigger boots with a wee hat, and I'm in full leathers, you know, looking like a right idiot in the Sahara. Well, I had people throwing their shoes at me and spitting at me, and he had people running along waving at him. And we were literally 100, 200 yards apart at times. And it was really weird to see that. But then I was also on DEFCON 5 by that point, because like we'd been robbed umpteen times by that point. So, and it was my first real experience of overland travel, you know, outside of like Morocco and outside of Europe.
It's so strange that, you know, we've been to the same areas and had such completely different experiences.
Yeah. There was a lassie 2 or 3 weeks behind me coming through Mauritania. She didn't get robbed once. She had no issues at all. I was getting robbed about 10 times a day, and literally I got taken by a gang at the border. And yeah,
it's just something about your face.
Particularly. Yeah.
Just rub people up the wrong way, Bruce, is what it is.
I think so. I'm not a people person.
The thing I want to know is, because obviously we do a lot of video stuff and YouTube and things like that, but I've never really seen myself as a kind of YouTuber, because we do lots of different things. Yeah. This is your main job now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's it like? I mean, it's a weird kind of existence. Do you find? Or do you find it's just absolutely great?
I love it. I do love it, but it's stress. It's just being self-employed. I've never ever been self-employed before. I've always worked for somebody else, you know, and obviously I was all billed before this. So I was getting paid no matter what. I always had a paycheck coming in, whereas for me, it's no different if I was a YouTuber to if I don't know, I was a plumber or something. You know, if you're self-employed, you're self-employed. If you don't work, you're not getting paid. And I just find it really hard at the moment trying to get used to that. There's no security in the fact that there's money coming in every month. So for me at the moment, it's just, can I cover the mortgage? Can I cover the mortgage? Can I cover the mortgage?
Was it worth it?
I am 100% happy with the way things have turned out. You know, I love what I do. I love the freedom of what I can do now. You know, if I want to go away, as long as there's funds in the bank to allow it, and somebody at home to look after the dog, then yeah, I can go. The world's my lobster. I can do what I like. So I've got zero complaints there at all. But it's hard. You know, it is hard, and I think the levels of creativeness that are out there now with people on YouTube, on TikTok, on all the social media platforms. There's some amazing content getting produced. You know, and I look at a lot of it now and just think, Jesus, I can't do that. I can't. All this short form stuff that is the buzz at the moment. You know, your TikToks and your Reels. I haven't got the creative abilities to do a lot of what they're doing just now. So a lot of the time I do think, shit, am I going to fall behind the curve here? Or
yeah, are you keeping up with the times?
Yeah, you know? It's a difficult one. But I think what I'm beginning to realise is you just have to create. If there's any other sort of YouTubery types out there, you just have to create the content you want to create, and don't worry about the trends and everything else that is out there. Obviously, if you want maximum growth, then yes, you've got to be a slave to that. But that doesn't do anything for me. So I'd much rather.
Have you ever found yourself kind of going down that rabbit hole of kind of, right, I've got to work out, you know, what's the YouTube algorithm doing at the moment? How do I?
The first couple of years, yeah. I literally resigned from the old bill a month before COVID hit. So I wasn't even officially out the old bill yet, and we went into lockdown. And I was thinking I would resign from the old bill and I'd have all my tours and this would go, and then lockdown hit and all my tours were cancelled. And it was like, yeah, what are we going to do now then? So yeah, the first couple of years, up until sort of springtime of the year just gone, of 2022, I was becoming obsessed with figures, like how am I going to get my subs up? How can you get more views? And that is just a total head screwer upper. You know, that's not going to end well. So that's a total head that. It really will. It will make you ill. You know, when if you're into that sort of life, when you start chasing figures, it will make you ill, and you just focus on it. You become obsessed, and it's not the way to be. Richie Vida was probably my saviour, really, because we were all chatting about it, me, him, Lamb Chops, and TMF in a WhatsApp group, and we're just like, you know, the viewing figures and the sub counts and everything just seemed to stall all of a sudden. When everyone went back to work, it was like YouTube was gone. Nobody was watching YouTube anymore, and we're just like, what's going on? And Rich just turned round and he said, "Look, I'm not bothered about subs. I'm not bothered about views. I just make the videos that I want to make." And I thought, that's actually the best way to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you've grown, you've got the community you've got because people have liked the videos and the content that you've created. So don't change that, just stick to it. And I'm much happier with consistent, solid growth where I just have a nice community of people join in and a nice community of people established there.
So your
far
biggest
better to
growth
be like that.
was when you started releasing all the videos about going around the world?
No.
No?
No.
I thought those are your highest view count.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think I had 600 subscribers by the end of the world trip.
Yeah.
So, and I sat at about 600 subs. I started 2011 on YouTube, and I had 600 subs till end of 2016 when I decided I was just going to start doing weekly vids. And I had quite a big, the initial 6 months, 8 months, I had quite a big bit of growth there, maybe up to 30-odd thousand in the first sort of 6 months, which is great. And then since then, it's been roughly about 1,000 a month, roughly. Sometimes you get a wee spike, sometimes you don't. But yeah.
I was hoping that you were going to be like, oh, that's when I got all the subs, so
No.
I'm going to have to do another big trip around the world on a
I'd love to.
crazy, stupid bike.
Yeah, I wanted to do it. I was really toying with the idea of going around the world on electric, but obviously Mark Travels is doing that at the moment, so see how he gets on.
See how it gets on. Hopefully, and then I can do it better.
No, I wish him the best. He's got the right
Electric's a
attitude, Mark.
Big thing for you at the moment.
What's that?
Electric, big thing for you.
The
You seem to
videos
do a
have
lot
done
on
well.
it, yeah.
Yeah, I've done a lot on electric since about 2018. I don't think it's the saviour, the environmental saviour that we're being told it is, but I think it's coming. I think it's something that we're going to have to embrace. Maybe in the bike world we might get away with it. Certain cars, they've got no option. They're going electric. I think there's going to be big developments. Now the big Jap teams are involved. I think there'll be big developments in it.
I struggle slightly because I love riding electric bikes. So, for instance, Harley Davidson Livewire. What a bike! What a bike! Honestly, I don't miss the sound at all because the performance is just like nothing. I put it in sport mode and just slammed it out. I threw up in my mouth. It was like, oh my God! I've never known power like it. But I've always been. But then, for instance, I was at the bike show with Christy, and Zero have launched this, what they're calling a kind of adventure touring kind of bike. It's got a range of 85 miles.
Yeah.
There's no adventure touring bike can just do 85 miles before needing, a good hour's worth of charge. And it's frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, the Energica have brought out the Xperia, and that's got I've ridden that. That's got a reasonable 130, 140 mile range on it. But again, you're looking at, with the current sort of majority of chargers that you're going to get out there for fast DC, I think they're about 15 kilowatt is the general sort of ones you'll pick up in the public domain. That's going to take you about 40 minutes to recharge. I think if you get a fast, if you can get like a 150 kilowatt charger or whatever it is, you could probably cut that down to 20 minutes, 25 minutes. But it's still 20, 25 minutes, isn't it, compared to
I don't know,
2 minutes
you go to
topping
a
up.
services, stop and have something to eat.
This is the thing I found. I did the round the UK by electric ride, and the infrastructure is there. There's chargers everywhere, but they don't always work. And even when they do work, they're not set up for bikers. That if you're in a car, you can sit in a car, you can listen to the radio. Doesn't matter if it's peeing with rain or freezing cold. You're sat in your little bubble there, and you can do your thing. But on a bike, You're totally open to the elements. You know, when you stop, you want somewhere to go to the toilet, you want somewhere to have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, or at least get out the rain and warm up. Well, most of the places I was having to sit on the tarmac next to the bike, or to be honest, lie and just sleep for 20 minutes, half an hour. There's nothing round about you. And that's something if they want us to go to electric, they have to address that.
I think one of the other issues that, for instance, when we did the 3 bikes on doing a little road trip, is finding somewhere that 3 electric bikes can charge at the same time.
Yeah.
Because we went to that one place in Bedford, which was a specific car park for electric vehicles, and what they had like 14 stations, none worked, not one. And then we had to find this one little place, and they just had one, and we had to share it. And we kept getting all the electric car drivers pulling up, seeing that we're charging and giving us evils as if electric cars had priority over the bikes. But
what you can't lose sight of is this is early technology. These are the early days. And if you were to rewind the clock back to when the internal combustion engine came in, there wasn't fuel stations everywhere. There wasn't even roads. Do you know what I mean? So it took a long time for us to get where we currently are. Yeah. And yes, it's not going to take as long to get that infrastructure in place, but it's not going to be an overnight thing. It's going to take time. Yeah. And I think they're going to have to standardise all the technology that's involved. Whether they'll get to swappable batteries, I don't think so, really. Not in our lifetime.
The other thing that they make
for us, for big bikes,
I find that manufacturers of cars as well, I feel they're making a bit of a mistake because they're constantly pushing it as an environmental thing.
Yeah, and
but
it's
actually,
not.
I think you should push it as a performance thing, because if you want, for example, Bugatti Veyron. I know we're talking cars, I apologise now. Bugatti Veyron, what's that? That's £2.5 million car. It can be out-accelerated by the Tesla Model S Plaid. So the model, it does 0 to 60 is half the time of the Bugatti Veyron. Now I know it's still a £100,000 car. That's still a very expensive car, but value for money against a £2.5 million car. I mean, how embarrassed are you going to be when a saloon car out-accelerates your £2.5 million supercar? Yeah, I mean, they're always kind of going, oh, think of the environmental things. No, it's fast.
Yeah, but they can't, though,
Talk about how cool and fast it is.
Environmental's the buzz thing, isn't it? And it's almost a dirty word to talk about the performance. The PR companies are never going to push that. In the current climate, they're never going to push it, sadly. But we know that
people are going, oh, Harley Davidson Livewire, it's electric and it's good for the environment. Who cares? It can out-accelerate your Gixxer. Got it? I mean, Electric's one of those things, isn't it? People love them or they hate them. It's just the way it is. It is the way it is. A lot of people do judge them before they get on trial.
Oh, totally, yeah. But we do that with a lot of things, don't we? I used to think, I'm going to bring it up, I'm sorry. I used to think GSs were just the devil. You know, like, you may as well give up your keys and not ride anymore if you've got a GS and then a road one.
Bruce?
A GS? Yeah. Best bike in the world. You know, it's one of those things, isn't it?
See, now, I've ridden a GS and I still wouldn't buy one. And we've had this conversation
that says a lot
before,
about you, Tom. It does say a lot about you.
That it's just too big. I just don't know why it needs to be so big. I think,
it's just one of you find your bike, don't you? Yeah. Like for some people, their bike's a 50cc. Some people, it's a 1.5 or 2 litre Goldwing. It's horse of courses. What makes you smile? That's your bike.
Right. On that note, we're going to have a little 15-minute break.